welcome to the Deep Dive. This week, well, we kick things off expecting a pretty simple task.
Yeah.
Get the weather forecast for Azerbaijan. Just the usual check.
Right, pack an umbrella, maybe.
Exactly. But what we found, starting with the supposed official weather site, hydromet.com, well, it turned out to be about gold and silver investments.
Not quite the meteorological data we were looking for.
Not at all. It was a real reminder, wasn't it, about, verifying where your information comes from.
Absolutely. And actually, that little detour kind of set our mission for this deep dive. It's not just about giving you that reliable forecast for Azerbaijan, say, September 14th to the 23rd, 2025.
Right.
It's about connecting those immediate weather things, the rain, the wind, to the country's much deeper long-term climate vulnerabilities.
Because the day-to-day weather is often a signpost for bigger changes.
Precisely. What's happening now is often like a tangible piece of that larger picture.
Okay, so let's dive in. We looked at the immediate forecasts, particularly for Baku and the plains. What's the main operational risk, the thing you really need to watch out for this week?
Well, the key thing to understand is that this isn't just, a random storm. It's more like a microcosm.
A microcosm.
How so? Our sources show that while the total amount of rain hasn't shifted dramatically over the years, the way it rains has, we're seeing an increase in the frequency and the sheer power of extreme rainfall events. So fewer gentle showers, more sudden heavy downpours.
Right. More intense bursts.
Exactly, which points to a systemic vulnerability. Now, specifically for Baku and the Absheron Peninsula, Sunday, September 14th, looks like the main concern.
What are we talking?
High winds. Gusts could hit maybe 39 miles per hour, plus a 70% chance of heavy rain. And it'll feel quite cool. High of only 19 Celsius.
Okay, so Sunday's the day to be really cautious there. Does it get better?
Yeah, the good news is it looks like conditions should moderate quite a bit by Monday.
Okay, so a snapshot. But like you said, pointing to those bigger trends.
Yeah.
What about the mountains? Our listener specifically asked about snow, maybe for places like Shadag.
Right. Well, the sources are pretty clear on this one. No snow forecast for Shadag during this mid-September period.
None at all.
Nope. Temperatures down in the valleys are expected to be between 5 and 13 degrees Celsius, so well above freezing. No need for skis just yet.
So the immediate thought might be, okay, no snow, travel's fine. But you're suggesting this lack of snow is actually significant.
Very significant. It's not just about a missed ski opportunity. It ties directly into that long-term trend. Azerbaijan's average annual temperature has gone up by about 1.3 degrees Celsius just since the start of this century.
Wow, 1.3 degrees.
Yeah, and that means less snowpack building up, faster glacier melt in the Caucasus Mountains. It's a major shift.
So different hazards then. If not snow, what should people be aware of in the mountains?
Well, just because there's no snow doesn't mean no danger. High altitude areas like Lhasa, for instance, are actually forecast for heavy rain.
Heavy rain in the mountains.
Yes, a really high chance, like 89% on Sunday the 14th, and then it jumps to 96% on Wednesday the 17th.
And heavy rain in steep terrain. That spells trouble, right? What are the knock-on effects?
Absolutely. That's the critical point. Heavy mountain rain dramatically ups the risk of floods, mud flows, even landslides. And these aren't just natural events. They're often made worse by things like deforestation, which increases erosion. It impacts roads, infrastructure, communities downstream.
Okay, so mountains are facing rain-related risks. Let's shift to the coast. Azerbaijan has a long Caspian Sea coastline. What's the short-term picture there, and what's the bigger story our sources revealed?
Well, the short-term average sea temperature around Baku in September is usually quite pleasant, around 23 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
But those strong winds we mentioned for Sunday, 39-mile-per-hour gusts, they will definitely create hazardous conditions out on the water. So any marine activities need extreme caution then.
Right. But there's a deeper issue with the Caspian, isn't there?
There is a really profound one. The immediate wind forecast contrasts sharply with this looming crisis. The Caspian Sea isn't just fluctuating, it's genuinely shrinking.
Shrinking? How much?
Projections suggest its depth could decrease by 9 to 18 meters this century. That's huge. It's driven by global warming, increased evaporation, reduced river inflow. Desertification plays a role too.
And that's already having effects.
Definitely. It's not some distant future problem. It's already causing major economic and logistical headaches for ports, for shipping. They're having to adapt right now.
Wow. So putting this all together, the intense rain, the melting snowpack, the shrinking sea, it paints a picture of real vulnerability. Our sources mentioned Azerbaijan ranks quite high on something called the Informed Risk Index.
Yeah, that's right. It's a global measure of humanitarian risk, looking at hazards, vulnerability, and coping capacity. Azerbaijan ranks 24th out of 191 countries.
So pretty high up. What makes it so vulnerable?
It's a combination of factors. The exposure to these climate shifts, but also underlying issues. For instance, it's classified as a water-stressed country. Water reserves have reportedly decreased by up to 20% in the last 30 years alone.
20%. That's significant. And this brings us to a kind of paradox, doesn't it? Considering Azerbaijan's international rule.
Exactly. Here's where the plot thickens a bit. Because despite facing these serious climate vulnerabilities, Azerbaijan hosted the big UN climate conference, COP29, in 2024.
Right. And they have ambitious climate goals on paper.
They do. Aiming for a 40% cut in greenhouse gases by 2050, 30% renewable energy by 2030. But the current economic reality, according to our sources, is that over 90% of the economy still relies on fossil fuels, oil and gas. So it's a complex situation. Some reports we looked at use terms like greenwashing. Others mention concerns about crackdowns on dissent leading up to COP29. We're just presenting the different viewpoints found in the source material, not taking a side.
Understood. Just laying out the different perspectives. So for you, our listener, wrapping this up, it seems like there's this dual challenge. You've got the immediate operational stuff, watch out for high winds, heavy rain, especially Sunday.
Definitely need that immediate contingency planning.
But that's all woven into these much bigger long-term systemic issues revealed by this deep dive.
Precisely. The shrinking Caspian, the water stress, the changing rainfall patterns. These need a long-term integrated strategy for adaptation and resilience. It's not just about weathering the next storm.
It really leaves you with a final thought, doesn't it? What does it truly mean for a country to champion global climate action, to host COP, when its own engine runs so heavily on fossil fuels? What kind of challenging decisions does that imply for the future?